Okay, well, we have our podcast today, Building a Community of Trust, with me, Lynda McNutt Foster, with Cortex Leadership Consulting, and Adam Linkenauger, owner of I Love Basketball. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let me start off right off the top with I Love Basketball. What kind of business is it? What is it? How long have you been in business?
Well, I've been at it for 9 years, and the best way I describe it is a affordable way for basketball players, young athletes, 14 to 17-year-old basketball players all over the world to get affordable, high-level training. So they don't have to go out and just shoot around in their backyard. They can actually use workouts where it's very difficult to find trainers unless you're in a major city. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is we've created digital downloadable workouts from high-level trainers and bridge that gap so they can afford the training first off and have access to it.
Question right off the top. I'm looking at these numbers in front of me. You have a million Facebook fans, 870,000 followers on YouTube. You've only done this for 9 years. Those are some enormous numbers, and especially for a client base that has most likely never met you. How did you build this trust to say, hey, Adam Linkenauger knows what he's doing?
It started with building a wide net community around the love of the sport. So if you hear the name I Love Basketball, you see I Love Basketball on Facebook, and you truly love basketball, that connects. So that was number one for us, is we build the community first, and then we earn the trust and earn their loyalty over time through posting training videos, giving great information, doing what we can to be there for them. When a lot of times when you're a basketball player, especially within our market, they're not your 9s and 10s. They're not your Kobe Bryants, your LeBron James. Yeah. They're just someone that they appreciate having, someone out there that believes in them and is willing to help. So that's the gap that we like to bridge.
And Lynda, a question for you, just talking about the importance of it. I think when people think about trust, at least for me, I'm thinking about with my husband or my family members. I don't know if I thought about it when it comes to the workplace, but it's obviously very key.
Yeah, it's really important for leaders specifically to quickly be able to gain trust with those that they're serving and that are serving them. And there's tone of voice plays a big part in that, more than what people think. When you're trying to do drive-by sincerity, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Right? So leaders have to learn how to slow down. There's a part of us that's a human doingness and a part of us that's a human beingness. And a lot of trust has to do with our human beingness and helping people understand what our intention is as quickly as possible in any type of interaction. Okay. So that means online, that means in person, that means with your policies. Each time you do something saying, well, this is the intention that I have, this is the outcome that I'm looking for, and this is why I've done what I've done and why I'm doing, then people kind of go, I'm safe. And there's a lot of brain science involved in that. But from a day-to-day basis, that's kind of the basics of what's happening in this interpersonal exchange that's going on.
And I want to ask this very specific question right here. How does trust work in our brain? I mean, what's going on? How are people processing this?
So this is so interesting to me. This is my work. But you have the lower level brain, which is the brainstem. And by the time we're 6 years old, that's already developed. They actually call that the lizard logic, the lizard brain.
Okay.
And that is where, everything that happens in an interaction with us, it has to go through that part of the brain. And so that's where we go, do we need to fight, flight, freeze, appease, right? If that door gets open and I go, yeah, I feel pretty safe, then information will then flow readily to your prefrontal cortex, which is the CEO of your brain. And the highest level trust occurs when you're fully relaxed with someone else and your highest level thinking is intact. But you have to be able to get that valve open, because if at any point I don't trust you in something, I go, I don't know how I fit in with you. I'm not sure whether I need to protect myself with you. What do I need to learn to be successful with you? If I can't answer some of those questions in a positive way, my brain just goes, no, sorry, we're going to have transactional conversations, and that's all we're going to do.
Okay, and every time we have a different topic, I always go back to this one topic, Adam. It was talking about the rich habits of successful people and that they don't live haphazardly. When you started this out 9 years ago, was it haphazard and luck that people trusted you, or did you have a very intentional thought process of getting people to trust you? How did that all work?
It was, I built trust through experience and how people respond online. So at first, trust was very difficult, especially when you didn't have a community around you. You didn't have another, 1,000 or, heck, 25,000 customers saying, go to this guy. He's great.
Right.
At that point, I had no one. So it was very difficult. And that trust was built through a lot of just trying to communicate. And that was really, when I first started, and it reminds me of I read somewhere about Taylor Swift. So her manager at the time said, do you want to have 500,000 fans? And she said, yes. Then you need to shake 500,000 hands. So that's kind of the way I looked at it. I was on Facebook talking to kids, helping them personally, and that's how I built my foundation. So from there, that foundation over the last 9 years has grown by just that base of personal connection. So that was kind of where I began.
And there's a word that he didn't use that's paramount in what he did, was that he listened. A huge foundational part of trust is making the other person feel heard. And so when I feel heard by you, I begin to trust that you have my best intentions in mind. But if you're blocking me off and you're not hearing me, then bam, again, that valve shuts and I go, I don't know if I'm safe.
Right.
So I don't know if I can trust you.
All right. Well, we want to talk more about this. We want to wrap this up. Again, Lynda McNutt Foster with me, as well as Adam Linkenauger. Something to leave you with, though, is a thought on how this trust is broken and what the effects of it are.